Hi, I'm Mike, and this is Mike Miller Talks Life. And today's quote that I want to talk about is think before you speak. I read a recent study that had come to the conclusion that the average person speaks about 7,000 words a day. That's a lot of words. At first, I kind of thought that can't be true. I find it a little hard to believe, but probably it could be. I mean, we say a lot. I think it maybe made me realize that we say a lot more than we realize. And then to weigh that with our words are more impacting than we realize. When we talk to our families, our children, our friends, our coworkers, our neighbors, our Facebook world, I don't think we're really swayed by what people put on Facebook, but we are impacted by those statements. They make us feel things. Words are very powerful. Most people are not great public speakers, but all people can speak powerful words. And people are affected by what we say long after we have said it. It's kind of interesting when you go to a social gathering. I know it's happened to me, just a casual conversation, and I hang on to those words several days after, either because they were interesting and I kept thinking about it, or they were kind of critical and it kind of hung with me. Our words have the ability to wound people or heal people. Words can be like a sword, very sharp and very cutting, and cause damage, cause people to give up on a dream, or they can be very soothing and healing and comforting. Our words can divide people on certain issues or unite them. We really need, as a nation, to be pulled together. We need to be united. I don't know, I feel like we can't take much more division. We're so divided. And so the potential of our words can do either, and it's something to think about. It's interesting. I'm a retired pastor, so I'm kind of a Bible geek. Tucked away in the Old Testament, which, if you're not familiar with the Bible, the part one of the Bible, the part that most people don't like, but in there is a verse that discusses the things God hates. And it's very interesting because the things I think God should hate are not on the list. But then the things that are on the list, I think, is that bad? And it's kind of surprising. But three of these have to do with words. And one of those says God hates people who cause division with their words, who spread discourse, division. That's interesting to me that it's that big of a deal, this using words to cause division. Our words can drain people emotionally or spiritually and encourage or refresh them. Isn't it draining sometimes to be around those people who are constantly nagging or criticizing or complaining? It's just, it can just suck the life out of you. But at the same time, it is so encouraging and refreshing to be around people who use their words to refresh. And it's interesting that when we speak refreshing, encouraging words, we feel refreshed because what we put out comes back on us. I feel that these little reminders are pretty sobering at the realization of word power. And that's what makes it appropriate to think before we speak, to take the responsibility for our words. Maybe listen more to people and then think carefully before we respond to what they've just said. There's an acronym for with the word think. It's a little on the corny side, but I think it really gives some great advice, and it will help us develop a habit of asking ourselves some questions before we text, before we send out that tweet, send off that email, or make a post on Facebook, or get involved in a conversation, or share what you've just read. We need to ask ourselves some questions, and they can come from this word think. First, we need to ask, is it true? Just do a quick fact check on yourself to see if what you're about to say is really accurate. I think also it helps to avoid words like always and never. These kind of general statements put people in a place, lump them all together, when it's not really accurate to do that. All men do this. All women do this. All Christians think this or act this way. All members of the Democrat Party do this, or all members of the Republican Party, they do this. All people who belong to that race are, these kind of statements just are not effective. And people are so individualized that they might be a Christian, but everything people say about Christians may not apply to them. So, is it true? Is it helpful? Will this really help that person? I mean, many times we have no idea what a person is going through. Will what we're about to say help them? Will this really help solve the problem we're facing? And if you think it will, before you say it, then just ask yourself, how will it help? Is it helpful? Is this inspiring? Will what I'm about to say inspire, encourage, give hope? Will it affirm this person or these people? Now, we all need affirmation. And it's so encouraging to get it. People can be struggling with being down, or it's easy to find people who are struggling with a low morale, and they need hope and they need a lift. And we have the potential to pick words that will inspire people, lift them up. Is it necessary? Might be true, but is it really necessary to say this? Is it really necessary to say how that dress looks or how that haircut looks? Those things aren't, you might think of it. Is it really necessary to say it? Something to really think about, something to question yourself carefully about, because I think many times we can say things that wasn't really that necessary. I sometimes read posts on Facebook, and I enjoy just as much, I enjoy the post maybe, but I really enjoy the comments. And I see some of those comments rolling out, and I think, wow, that wasn't necessary. But many people don't have that filter, and it can be kind of challenging. K, the last is it kind? Our society needs more kindness. We need more than acts of kindness, though. We need kind words. I'm really tired of these gotcha statements, and I'm really tired of you won the debate because you really got them instead of having a good point. And I'd love to start hearing, wow, that was really a kind statement that he said. Kindness accomplishes so much more than we realize. Kindness comes across as polite and respectful, pleasant. Well, kind of a simple challenge and kind of a corny format, but boy, it'll make a big difference in our conversations if we learn to think before we speak. If you're new at this, sometimes a couple of guidelines that might help you is it's kind of sometimes helpful just to think it, but don't speak it. You don't have to say everything you think or feel about a topic. I encouraged earlier that we just need to listen more. I think I like the self-application test. I might come across a great article and I think this is so good, I need to share this, but I try to wait because I want the article to challenge me and stir in me and do some things inside me before I'm really ready to share it. I had a professor in college who warned often against trafficking unlived truth. And this is a great warning for people who speak and for ministers, of course. And the warning is just simply be careful. You don't want to teach truth that you are not living, or that truth that you have not allowed to speak to you and stir in your heart before you say it. When we traffic unlived truth, we're just creating shallowness and hypocrisy. And we want to say truth that really impacts people. So self-application, apply it to you before you say anything. Or maybe say anything at all. You may not want to say it. And I think it helps to have a few good friends. I say this a lot, but a few good friends that you can just run things by. Hey, I'm thinking about saying this. What do you think? I've done this for a long time, and especially when I was in the pastorate and I preached and taught and said things every week. Sometimes I would be concerned about something that was kind of a touchy subject that I wanted to address. And there were a group of people I could just run things by. What do you think? One of my great helpers has been my wife, Anita, where I could just say, I'm thinking about saying this point this way. And I would listen to what she had to say about it. And sometimes it was very helpful. Well, think before you speak. Simple, but so practical, and I think so helpful. Thanks so much for listening. It means a lot. I say that every week because I mean it every week. And so if you liked it, I hope you click like or viewed or what. I forgot now what there is to click on YouTube, but it means a lot to me to see people have taken the time to listen and to click something and to say that like or something. It helps me know how it's going and if I need to keep doing this, or if nobody's listening, it's kind of pointless. But so thank you very much. And until next time, I hope you have a healthy, safe week.